Now, if you'd like to be a jitterbug, first thing you do, get yourself a jug, put whiskey, wine, and gin within, shake it all up and then begin. Get yourself a cup and start to toss. Come on, Jack, you drinking jitter sauce. Don't you worry, you just bug, you'll always be a jitterbug. See this gang, so prolonged, been jitterbugs since the day they were born. The sauce is right, I swear they're gonna drink it till they die. Drink the whistle and blow the bell. Oh, Boogie, what you done with tell? Come on, you just stop your mug and come on, be a jitterbug. It's the call of the jitterbug.
It's the call of the jitterbug.
It's the call of the jitterbug.
It's the call of the jitterbug.
It's the call of the jitterbug.
It's the call of the jitterbug.
Wait.
Jitterbugging, I heard a musician said that there was a musician used to call the whiskey jitter. You know, and the bug was the dancers out there dancing, and then he always said, "Give me my jitter." That was the whiskey, and then he saw one of the Lindy hoppers doing that. He said, "Look at that jitterbug." That was his whiskey and the bug, and so they incorporated that as jitterbug.
Lindy hop is swing. You must swing to the music. That's what Lindy hop is.
Jitterbug is like a little flighty thing, but the Lindy hop is a dance, you know.
To you, there actually is no difference between my Lindy hopping and your word jitterbugging. Because you, as I said, you will look at me when I'm doing the Lindy hopping, you say I'm jitterbugging.
Jitterbug is the white word for Lindy hop.
I wonder if the answer man knows who were the very first jitterbugs in the world.
Why, I think I could answer that. They were the bugs themselves, the little bugs you see on the surface of ponds and streams every spring. These jitterbugs gave their name to the dancers.
But where did the dance come from? Their jump and jive.
The rhythm from Africa. The acrobatics from the French Apache dancers. The jitterbugs do it this way. That the jitterbugs do this way.
1929, 30, early 30s, there was a boom of dancing called the Lindy Hop, which was named after Charles Lindbergh when he made his transatlantic flight from New York to Paris. Harlem in the 30s were full of clubs, entertainment, and that was an entertaining center, really, of New York. See, one thing about Harlem then, everyone had impeccable manners. I mean, they carried themselves beautiful. No one went out the street without looking just right. I mean, and 7th Avenue was a boulevard for strutting and promenading. I mean, no one walked fast, everyone took their time. Harlem had the spirit and the drive that everyone wanted to be a part of. The Cotton Clubs, small, they even had little clubs called the Devil's Kitchen and the Savoy. You'd go to the Savoy every day, 7 days a week, it was packed.
As Harlem was in those days, many of the celebrities and the theatrical people who played in the Broadway theater area came to Harlem every night. That was the world center of entertainment. When I played Savoy Ballroom, every night there would be 2 or 3 busloads of tourists coming there.
Savoy was open 6 nights a week. In fact, 7 nights a week, really. Every night was one night was kitchen mechanics night, when all the ladies who used to work upstate for families, they would go there. Then they had the ladies' night out, which means all ladies got free that night.
The Savoy was the place. There was no place like the Savoy. There never will be again. When I walked in, I found it was very large. It was very large. As a matter of fact, it ran by the block. And to walk in and hear those big bands playing 2 bands at one time. You know, you had, as soon as one finished there, the other one would start. And this was something new to me, even though we did have the big bands in Florida. And then to see this ballroom up there, oh my God, it was enough to make anybody feel happy about the whole thing.
Everybody came to the Savoy Ballroom. It was the home of black dancing. It was the home of swing. And everybody wanted to learn swing. You had to come to the Savoy Ballroom. It was the dance that was created in Harlem. It was the most American dance that have ever been created in the history of dance. And that's the Savoy. Savoy, everybody came. That's why everybody came to Harlem. But it was the first time where black and white mixed for the first time in a public place. Other than that, it was not like white people coming watching black people dance. It was everybody being part of it, and it was the first integrated public place in Harlem, in America. Street teacher. Lindy Hop is street dancing, basically. It's not the classical work of art. It's something that you've got to love to do inside your heart and want to pass it on to the next generation. And that's what the Lou Parks dances are all about.
All right, we're going to just go over it once more. That's good. You're coming along. The only way you're going to learn is to get up there and do it, right? Okay, all right, JoJo? Okay. Are you going to get between the 2 girls? That's all right, that's all right, that's good, right there. One of you all dance on the other side of her. Dance on the other side. So you can, and then just watch the girls' foot those. Hey, back, hey, step back, oh, double hit, step back, double hit, step back, skip, rock, fall, step, open, go,
Kicking, stand up. Where's your partner? Come over here. You're doing something that's not going to work. We have to stop that right now. When you're doing those double turns, make sure you do it with the hands up. She should lie right in front of you. We'll need some alcohol when we finish. See?
your fun night. And my name, in case you don't know, is Mama Lou Parks. And I am here this evening with my Savoy Lindy Hoppers, who are going to be jitterbugging and Lindy hopping all across this stage. Our band, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very special group. When I mean special, I mean close to my heart. The Harlem Blues and Jazz Band. Ladies and gentlemen, jumping at the woodside. Jitterbug.
We wanted to keep alive an American dance form, not ballet, not something else, but we wanted to keep something that was really, you would just identify with blackness, with black America. And like I say, the Lindy Hop was not done just by blacks alone, of course, because in the 30s and 40s, everybody did it, whether you were pink, blue, green, Italian, or whatever. Everybody wanted to Lindy Hop.
But the Savoy was a way of life. It was like part of our life, you know. We lived the Savoy. So like I started going at 18. So then I got married. The next year I had my first child. And I used to take my babies up there. You know, everybody bring their babies or whatever. You know, at nighttime you see them flying around the floor. Everybody say, oh, they don't have a care in the world. They don't work, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these kids, they were working. A lot of they were grown people, you know, they were adults. But they were working, but at nighttime they were at the Savoy dancing. And if they had a day off or something, they were there in the afternoon practicing. On Saturday they were there practicing. Sunday they used to open up for matinee. We'd be there at matinee, you know, on Sundays. And every night, 6 nights a week, till they closed the doors at 3 o'clock in the morning. We weren't into drinking alcohol. We weren't into drugs. Dancing was our high.
Because remember, this was Depression time. Not many of those people had jobs to go dancing. Because I think after a while he let the Lindy Hoppers in free, since they were the draw. What we don't understand is that it cost maybe 50 cents or $1, but the people didn't have the $1. They didn't have the 50 cents. But this was the entertainment that they wanted. Dancing was a sort of therapy. This kept them from dope or drinking. They were high just from dancing, and they did it every night.
Coming to a dance as Norma and Frankie and some of the other famous Lindy Hoppers did almost every night, they became very expert in dancing together and experimenting with their emotional, physical outlet, incorporating that in the dance. And instead of just screaming, they executed some wild sort of dance routine, which was the same thing. They screamed in motion, screamed with joy, you see, as the music of that era projected happiness and joy.
So now the dance goes. I'm gonna do it a little faster. In some cases, I can imagine that dancing inspired the music. In other places, you can see where music inspired the dancing. The best music is the music that is written for dance, because dancing enhances music. Dancing enhances. Let me write that down, please.
Dizzy said that he really learned to swing behind his wife, who was one of the chorus girls at the Apollo. And he said he fed them, and those obligatos you play behind the dances would feed them, and that made you want to swing, and made you, some things you did at night you didn't even know you had it in you from watching them, and you got an extra beat. So most of the musicians, like I said, they fed off the dances.
When you play and you see 6 Lindy hoppers out there working their brains out, you know you're saying something to them and they are responding. What the dancers did inspired the musicians to create solos to compensate what the dancers were doing. The riffs we played. Booty-pow, booty-pow, pow, booty-pow, booty-pow,
We gave America swing. We gave the world swing. And if nothing else, today you got swing in the world because of us. And I tell everybody that. So I can sit down and say, well, got to be something all right with it. Wasn't bad for Count Basie, or Duke Ellington, Chick Webb, Louis Armstrong. I mean, that ain't a bad group to be hanging out with. We even had white bands to come to the Savoy Ballroom. That was extraordinary. Charlie Barnett, Artie Shaw, Benny. Oh yeah, well that was the big event. Benny Goodman. When Benny Goodman came to the Savoy, it was hot. It was hot because Benny Goodman was a giant, but so was Chick Webb a giant. I was traveling with Ethel Waters. Now we were traveling with 2 cars and a bus, Lincoln Zephyrs, a Lincoln and a Lincoln Zephyr and a bus, with 2 chauffeurs driven. I mean, we're talking about the big time show business, you know, on the road, and we couldn't eat at a White Tower, White Castle. What's the name of the White Castle? They turned and told us all to get the hell out of there. At a White Castle on the highway. Ethel Waters could have bought both of them, bought the whole darn block. And we couldn't get a hamburger.
Well, that was the horrible condition of segregation. You know, I mean, they weren't any hotels for the blacks to go to, and you weren't allowed to go in the restaurants. It was heartbreaking. You went there to entertain the people. They laughed and they sang with you, and they watched you all night. And that night, when it was time for you to go home, you had no place to go. There was no hotels that want you. You couldn't even get a sandwich. They would tell you to go back in the kitchen, and somebody with a dirty hand, a dishwasher, would hand you a sandwich for you to eat, and then you had to eat it by the roadside. And
when people would refuse us, we'd laugh. I mean, you know, it did not have the effect of racism have today. It did not bother us because we were insulated. We were, you know, it isn't like you were traveling by yourself and you couldn't get a drink of water. You know, you'd be surprised how inventive you become, and how you steel yourself against. You grow an armor. People refusing you. I said, you refuse us. Listen, we're better looking than anybody in that place. What are you talking about? I mean, people welcome us to come somewhere. You know, we weren't a bunch of scruffy people on a highway. We were the biggest show out there. But of course, you ran into problems.
Joe Louis came down one night, and the boss's brother was taking care of the business that night because the boss had to go someplace. And she came backstage complaining because there was a nigger sitting near her and in the club. So he told her, he said, lady, he looked out, he said, that's the champion of the world, that's Joe Louis. And she said she didn't care, you still a nigger, as far as she was concerned. So he came and got her by the back of the neck and the seat of the pants and stood her out. So he started to throw her, but he didn't want to, because he wasn't the boss, he was the boss's brother. And he said, well, there's no niggas out here, and sit her out there.
that's what Earl Hines said. Earl Hines said we were the first freedom fighters. Said we went down there without guns and without the troops. And we went down south and we paved the way. And they had little rickety buses and they would go down and travel just to entertain.
Just a combination of all the dances wildly put together, from the Charleston, Black Bottom, like I say, Spank the Baby, to Boogie Back. We've got one lady who I saw her do a boogie. We used to call her the Boogie Woogie Queen.
They crowned me the queen of the boogie woogie. I almost forgot that. Everybody was doing boogie woogie real cute, and I used to do it very sexy, so they named me Boogie Woogie. I was afraid of air steps, so I used to pick my partner up and throw him around. And I'm the first woman to pick up a man brute strength without aid of, and my partner was 20 pounds heavier than I was. And Mr. Buchanan wanted to make me a lady bouncer, and the police department wanted to make a cop out of me, but I didn't want to do anything with Lindy Hop.
To dance on a rough floor is hard, well, for me, for the type of dancing I do. There's some people prefer a floor that's not slippery. I do, because I like to slide. See, I dance on a slide, so this way I can let the floor do the work for me. Some dancers dance as though it's a job. Some move as though they floating on cloud nine. What's the difference? When you get to a point where it's going to feel like a job, like you're doing a job, or you out there working hard, then it's rough. But when you can get out there and relax, be able to relax on the dance floor, then you can find yourself a good dancer out there.
Frankie Manning. It's almost poetry how he does it. Poetry, how he glides, I mean, and he loves what he's doing.
Good dancing, you respond, and it's just beautiful. Like dancing with Frank Manning, to me, is perfection. I think Frankie was the best, amongst the best, and he's still Frankie's still the best. Well, I don't know, that's all I can say about Frank Manning. He's the best. I just give up on Frank Manning. I mean, he's so wonderful.
Hasn't been hard at all. You know, like the old saying, old cliches, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it. When a bassy came up to the Savoy to play against Chick Webb, it was a very, important night. They said, well, okay, you Chick Webb guys and you Count Basie guys, we are going to dance against y'all. You're going to dance with Chick Webb's band, and we're going to dance with Count Basie's band, and we're going to see who outdances who. But it was all very friendly and competitive, because everybody just wanted to outshine the one who went before him. That was beautiful. That was I think that was one of the greatest nights of the Savoy that I can remember. And well, the other one is when I actually did the aerial. The first time the aerial was ever done by any Lindy Hoppers, I did it. That was the other night, because when I was dancing with Frida and I got ready to do the step, it didn't seem to me like it was going to be all that big, It was just another step to me as far as I was concerned. But then when I did it, and it seemed like the whole Savoy as one rose up and started applauding, hey, one of those things like that. And then I opened up my eyes and said, hey, I done did something. But well, those are the two times that I can remember, because they were dancing nights. Yeah. these steps that were done in Hell's Poppin', the group, the 4 couples, already knew the steps. It was just a matter of putting them together so that they would, just flow into each other. So I don't think it was that much choreographing that was done. But anyway, as I said, each of us knew music or the beat of music. So when we would dance and when we were trying to get this routine together, it was just a matter of everybody keeping the same beat at the same time. And this is what was the hardest part, so that we would all think together.
It's almost related to getting happy in a Baptist church service. If you've ever seen people get happy in church, when a certain preacher reaches a certain pinnacle in his preaching or his singing, and they just go into an exuberant kind of emotion, you have to calm them down. Well, it's that same feeling that you get between the dancers and the musicians. It's a happy explosion, I guess you might say, happy explosion.
That's why we're jitterbugs. You jitterbug.